Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're going to learn how to take that music and we're just going to crescendo it down and fade you out. I'm laughing because we just cut it off. Hey, gang. Good afternoon. And welcome to our afternoon session, our part 2 of a 4-part series with our purchasing division. This is about doing BIDness with Broward County. And we're excited that we have a partner like purchasing who's willing to help us share with you how to do business through the procurement aspect of Broward County. I'm Sandy McDonald. I'm the Director of the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. So I just want to welcome you here today. What we're really going to do, purchasing is going to dive in. And I got to tell you, I've even had a chance to review their slides. The information, the things they're going to share is exactly what you need to be hearing. It is exactly what you need to know. And then when they're done, I'm going to come in as a commentary and chime in on some more specific things relevant to our office and purchasing. But that's also where I want to start before I introduce you to the purchasing presenter today. There is a real relationship between our office and purchasing. And the thing that I said in the first session and the thing that I say in most of my other past workshops relevant to purchasing, Broward County will always procure, will always buy goods, materials, and services. And because we have chosen, Broward County has a small business program because they know the importance and the significance of small business. So we want to make sure through the procurement process, small businesses can be engaged. What you need to know as a business, especially a small business, Broward County will always be buying goods and materials and services. Broward County might not always have a small business program, but we have a small business program. We don't anticipate losing our small business program. We're not saying that our small business program is going anywhere, but what we do know as a small business, you need to know the specifics, the details, the tips to working with purchasing and preparing a bid, being prepared before a bid, and understanding the bid process. So that's why we're here today to give you information from the purchasing's perspective on how to prepare for a bid before and during the bid process. So I just want to start with that introduction. But again, purchasing is going to really walk us through this process today. And this is about the pre-bid prep and solicitation, all those things relevant to research that you as a small business should be doing as a part of the bid process. And yes, if you're about your homework, some things you should be doing before the bid ever hits that bid portal where you see it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the presenter today, Ms. Jean Pierre, to take you off and let you know more about Periscope, S2G, formerly known BidSync, let you know about the devil in the details of the procurement office. And actually, I can say this because, again, I saw the slides, give you some tips and pointers about things that you can do if you're really trying to work within that Periscope S2G. Wendell, the floor is yours, and thank you again for doing this with us and on behalf of the purchasing division and small business. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Sandy, for the introduction. You pretty much covered my intro. My name is Wendell Jean-Pierre. I'm the Senior Purchasing Agent with Broward County Purchasing Division. We're pretty much going to go through how to research your current and past solicitations in Periscope S2G. We're also going to view awarded vendors. We're also going to discuss what's a pre-bid, why you should actually attend the pre-bid, and we're actually going to dive into Periscope S2G, learn about how to sort your solicitation listings. There's also going to be a discussion by Sandy about the 3 Ps and the Office of Economic and Small Business Development and Resources.
And Wendell, can I cut you off real quick? I do apologize. Guys, I was also supposed to give you they call that cute word. I was supposed to give you the housekeeping. So at the end of the day, chat versus Q&A. Chat, give us a shout out. Let us know who you are. Let other folks attending this session know who you are. That's what the chat's about. We will have question and answers at the end. If you have a question based on what we're presenting, put it in the Q&A. See, this is a little bit like a procurement process in a bid. You have to do what is asked. If you have a question, put it in the Q&A. Don't put it in the chat. Chat is for conversation, for us to give you more additional information based on us presenting, and a way to you to give a shout out. So you always need to know who's in the room, and you need to understand sometimes they need to know that you're in the room. So that's what we want to make sure that you're clear about. Q&A, in the Q&A, we'll entertain it at the end of the presentation. I apologize. Here we go.
Thank you. And as Sandy stated earlier, the purpose of the training is to provide a general overview of the county's procurement process. So bidders, vendors, and subcontractors, we're going to ask that you guys review each solicitation for specific requirements. Here is just a quick snippet of how you view currently advertised solicitations within Broward County. You'll access the Broward County Purchasing website at www.broward.org/purchasing. And towards the right, if you could just go back to the previous slide. Towards the right, you'll select current solicitations and results. Here, you'll be able to view the currently advertised solicitation, so you'll be able to see when the solicitation was advertised, when the solicitation ends, and you can actually select the solicitation and view additional details as well, and it'll take you directly to Periscope S2G. And now, for the vendors that are not familiar with Periscope S2G, it is an electronic bidding application. It'll allow you to review solicitations within for Broward County as well as other agencies. Periscope S2G basically is a network that encompasses bid opportunities from nearly 100,000 agencies across the United States and Canada. Periscope includes various subscriptions that could actually range from $0 to thousands of dollars. However, I just want to reiterate to everyone here that Broward County has partnered with Periscope S2G to provide web-based bidding services to vendors, suppliers, and contractors. And as a result, there is no fee to subscribe to Periscope to view Broward County solicitations. And if you are listening, go ahead and just type in the chat free. And that's just to reiterate that there is no subscription to bid on Broward County solicitations. So Broward County encourages all vendors to respond to the advertised solicitations. And again, it is free. It's a free service offered by Broward County. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. And this video is a quick snippet of how to research solicitations within Periscope S2G. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. We're going to talk about searching Periscope S2G to locate contracting opportunities for your business. We're also going to show you how to update your profile to include keywords, which will assist in the types of bids you receive via email and on your bid listing. And finally, we'll show you how to look up past bids and view award information. When you log into Periscope S2G, one of the first things you'll notice is that you're able to see a long list of current bids. This list is based on your profile when you first registered your account with Periscope. As you can see on my screen, I'm able to view 1,527 bids out of 27,066 bids. Although there are over 27,000 bids, the list is actually condensed to only include bids that are relevant to your profile. Even if you have a large team, over 27,000 bids are a lot to review. Luckily, this list can be sorted in several ways to allow you to view more relevant bids, and I'll be able to show you how to ensure that you receive more bids that are more related to your business. Initially, your listing is sorted by bids that match your profile, utilizing the NIGP codes. This can be viewed within the column titled Match Relevance. It will first sort the listing by bids that have the most relevance to your profile, which can be seen based on the indicator of all 5 green blocks filled in. The more blocks that are filled in, the more the bid matches your profile. And as you scroll down, you're able to see that you have 4 blocks and so forth. When you first log into Periscope S2G, it can be a little confusing because you have limited access to view certain solicitations. This is due to your plan type. If you have the limited plan type, then you have access to view limited solicitations. And if you have the premium, then you have access to view a wide range of solicitations. You can also sort the listing by bid title, agency, and state. And these items can be sorted alphabetically. And lastly, you can sort by your bid end date. Now that I've shown you the listing, I'm sure you're wondering where exactly you begin to search for more relevant bids. If the filter box is not already opened for you, select Filter at the top left of the page. This section will allow you to filter by keywords, states and provinces, negative keywords, as well as the bid end date. You can filter in any particular order. So we're going to talk about the keywords and the importance of keywords when searching for bids. And what you want to do is just select keywords to expand. Now, if you are a vendor that would like to view specific contracts, you can do so by typing certain keywords within the keywords sections. Keywords should be similar to services, products, or construction-related services that your company provides. For instance, if you would like to research landscaping or grounds maintenance bids, simply type landscape within the keywords section to view landscape solicitations. Once you've typed that, you can hit the plus sign or press enter. You'll notice automatically that the bid listing has updated to include landscape solicitations. You'll also notice that the number of bids has dropped down considerably from 27,000 to 373. The more keywords you include, the more relevant bids will appear. So we will include words similar to landscaping, such as greenway, tree trimming, fertilizer, and mowing. If you are looking at the listing, then you're able to see that the keywords are updating the bid list. And you'll also notice that the number of bids went up from 300 to 669. And what you want to do in the meantime is, if you like the bid listing that you're seeing here, you can include these keywords to your profile simply by selecting Update Bid Profile. By doing so, it will include these keywords within your bid profile and also within the listing that you receive via email. Go ahead and select Save. And you'll notice that the color has changed from green to orange. Orange is the indicator that the keywords are a part of your profile. Another way to filter is by negative keywords. And what this option does is that it excludes bids that includes the keywords that you type here. So say, for instance, you would like to exclude landscaping solicitations that include irrigation. And so what you would type in this keyword is irrigation. And you'll notice that when you mention irrigation, solicitations have been removed, and it has dropped from 669 to 602. One thing to be careful with this option is that it will exclude any open bids with the keyword entered. It can be so much as a small mention of the word, and the solicitation is excluded from your listing. For example, if the bid simply states, "This bid does not include irrigation," you have potentially missed out on a bid opportunity because of this function. So keep that in mind. the least amount of negative keywords, the better. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and remove it. And to remove keywords that you input, you simply select X. Another way to sort your listing is by the states and provinces. For large corporations, you may want to search for all states and provinces, including Canada, then you'll select this option. For individuals that prefer to search for bids within the United States, then you would select this option. For our Florida vendors that wish to search for solicitations within the state of Florida, then you'll select here, and you can either search for Florida within this listing or start typing it so that it would populate, and then you would select it. And now you'll notice that the bid listing has dropped considerably from over 300 to now 43, which is much more manageable to review the solicitations. I did see within the chat that you guys were having some difficulties listening to the recording. These presentations will be recorded and you guys could listen to it at a later time. But for the individuals that are on the line, if you could just mute, because there are some sounds that are preventing others from hearing. With the other videos that are to come, what I'll do is I'll try to speak over the video for the individuals that can't hear. And hopefully there won't be too much overlapping, but you guys just let me know in the chat. But there is an individual that still isn't muted, and this is, if OSPD, if you can just find that individual and mute, please. Now, for this slide, for the previous slide that you guys weren't able to listen into, basically it was just on how to research current solicitations within Periscope. It went over how to sort the solicitation listing. It went over how to update your solicitation profile, your profile within Periscope. That way you're able to identify certain solicitations. We don't have to go back. I'll just go over it briefly. Well, this slide now is just to show you how to add the favorites and show similar bids. From the slide, you can see within the bid listing towards the left, we've highlighted red. We have a red square here, and it's indicating the shaded star that's filled in. Once you've selected the star towards the left of the solicitation, it indicates that the item has been added to your favorites list. I showed two here at the bottom. The other one underneath is unshaded, and that just indicates that the solicitation is not within your favorites. Towards this top, once you've added this solicitation to your favorites list, you'll select your favorites, and you're able to view your favorites within the listing. Now, within the favorites section, you can actually access this solicitation at any time. It doesn't have to be before, it doesn't have to be after advertisement. You can access it after it's been awarded as well. Towards the right, you have your thumbs up and your thumbs down. The thumbs up indicates that you can view similar bids, similar to the solicitation that you're looking at. And thumbs down indicates to Periscope S2G that you no longer want to view those types of solicitations. So that will help you out with your solicitation listing if you're receiving several thousand solicitations. The thumbs up and the thumbs down feature is actually very beneficial. You can go to the next slide, please. The next slide is actually a video. It's pretty quick, but I will walk you through it. It's to show you how to view awarded solicitations. You can hit play and I'll talk through it. Previous slide. Say I want to search past bids for Broward County. So I'll include. So in this example, you can search for past Broward County solicitations simply by typing Broward County within the keywords section here. So once you type in Broward County and hit the plus sign, it will automatically populate the listing to display Broward County solicitations. Now, to review past solicitations, you'll scroll down within that filter column and you'll select bid end date. You'll also select include past bids.
Notice that this listing has updated.
You'll notice that the listing pretty much updated to display past solicitations, and you can see that based on the end date.
Time frame.
Now, to select a specific time frame to look for solicitations, you can search by past 6 months, past year, past 3 years, or you can select a custom time frame. And for this example, we're going to select a custom time frame.
Time frame search.
Now you can input specific dates. Within the custom time frame, you can search by a date range. So let's say there's a solicitation that you're looking for within May of 2021.
Through May 31st, 2021. And you'll select the calendar.
So what you'll do, you can actually select the calendar icon and you can look for the date.
2021.
And as you can see on the image there. Or you could actually input the date within the field there and type in May 31st, 2021. So the date range that we're looking up is May 1st, 2021 through May 31st, 2021. And once you input that, the date, the solicitation listings will actually populate automatically. And you'll have the ability to look through the listing to see if the solicitation that you're looking for is within the list. And if you scroll down and you realize that you haven't located the solicitation that you're looking for, you'll select load more bids.
Once you do that,
once you select load more bids, additional solicitations or bids would populate. And once you're able to locate the solicitation that you're looking for, you can either select the title. You can select the title of the solicitation to access the bid opportunity details page. And the bid opportunity details page will display pertinent information about the solicitation. But what you want to do is look up the awarded vendors. So what you'll do is select See Original Bid Opportunity towards the right. Once you select See Original Bid Opportunity, what will happen is the solicitation will populate. It will include a series of documents. It'll include a series of details that you can view pertaining to the solicitation.
It's the Details tab, which is already selected.
So the first thing that's going to populate is actually the Details tab, and that lists your solicitation bid comments. You'll scroll down to the bottom of the bid comments. And once you reach the bottom, you're able to see tabulation. And what you'll do is select that. From there, you're able to view the awarded, you're able to view the vendors that have provided a response to the solicitation. And there's also an indicator to know which vendor has been awarded, and that's with the star icon. So if there's one vendor or two vendors, you're able to see a star icon next to their name. Now, to view what they submitted or how much they submitted for that solicitation, you can either select the plus sign next to the name of that particular vendor.
The awarded amount, you'll select either,
or you can select Expand All Offers, which will display all the offers for all vendors.
To view the offers that,
and here you're able to see all the amounts that they submitted for.
And this is how you would locate information pertaining
and this is basically how you would view awarded solicitations and to see what amounts were submitted. You can go to the next slide, please. Now, if you noticed from the previous video, there were actually two options for you to select. You can select tabulation, and you could also select vendor viewed reports. In purchasing, we get a lot of questions where vendors want to know what other vendors are looking at the solicitation just for networking purposes to see if they can work with those particular vendors. So here you can actually select vendor viewed report, and you'll be able to access a listing of the vendors that have viewed the solicitation. Doesn't necessarily mean that they submitted an offer, just that they've viewed the solicitation. And this listing does not include contact information. It only includes the vendor names. And the next slide is also another video. It's how to locate active and past RFPs. But again, I'll talk you through it. So the first thing you want to do is access the purchasing website.
Past bids. However, what about
And if you can hear it, let me know, and then that way there's no overlapping.
Our RFPs,
if the audio came back. But you'll access purchasing's website by www.broward.org/purchasing.
And this is to assist our small businesses. And we have covered how you would review past bids. However, what about requests for proposals?
So a lot of the times we get small businesses or even prime vendors looking to do research on how to find information about past RFPs, or maybe you're just looking for how to submit an actual proposal within a current solicitation that's active now.
Small businesses.
We actually post our past and active RFPs on our website, so you have the ability to view the pertinent documents related to the RFPs.
To have a better understanding of how to properly respond to Broward County RFP solicitations.
I'm speaking too fast through the video.
And locate Broward County's previous RFPs. Well, you're in luck because you will have the opportunity to review RFPs.
So right now, basically, we're going to go through how you would locate those. You can hear the audio?
You'll need to access the Purchasing Division website at www.broward.org/purchasing.
Okay, perfect.
Once you've accessed the website, at the top left, you'll select Menu. Once the menu populates, you'll notice that you can also view current solicitations, committee appointments for RFPs. You can also review standard agreement terms and conditions. Now, to view the active and past RFPs, you'll select RLI RFP repository. From this page, you'll be able to view active RFPs that have already been advertised but not yet awarded. Here, you'll have access to
Okay, here it just stated that you're able to view active RFPs that have not been awarded just yet.
Middles, compliance memorandums, meeting agendas.
You're able to view solicitation documents, compliance memorandums, evaluation committee meeting agendas, presentations, and so forth. And you're able to locate the documents by selecting the documents icon to the right of the solicitation.
And these are the RFPs that have already been advertised, already gone through the evaluation meetings, and have already gone through negotiations and are awarded.
Now, the next item is we're going to go over how to review archived RLI RFP documents. Now, if you already have an RFP in mind, you can simply type it within the search box up front. And you can see that based on this listing, we have 14 pages. So it's a lot to actually go through. So if you want to do keyword searches, you can do that as well. Now, do note that these keyword searches are only pertinent to the solicitation title.
You can type words within the search area. And these words could be such as...
You can type words such as engineer, in which you'll see that the listing automatically populates to include RFP titles with the word engineer.
Solicitation titles that have the word engineer.
And right now you see we now have 2 pages as opposed to the 14 pages earlier. I included several
such
other
as-
examples, so you can also include insurance for
Again,
vendors that
update,
want to look up insurance solicitations. You can look up CEI for construction engineering inspection services, previous RFPs.
terminal.
For the airport contracts, you can look up terminal or simply type in airport.
Now again, these are the words that you'll type.
And just a reminder, these are the words that you'll type to include, that are included within the solicitation title.
As generic as consult.
And you can also search for something as generic as a consult. It could be consulting, it could be consultation, but you'll notice that all the solicitation titles with the word consult within it will populate. And from here, you can do a search to locate whichever solicitation you are looking for. And you can either select the title of the RFP, or you can select the icon to the right for access to the documents. And from here, it'll show you a copy of solicitation documents. It'll show you previous submittals. It'll show you the compliance memos that have been included.
So that you have an understanding of how
you'll also see disclosure forms.
Respond to the RFPs.
If there were any vendor references, that will be included as well. Evaluation matrix, evaluation committee meeting agendas, as well as the video. In addition to that, you have access to the minutes. If there was a short list, you have access to the short list, presentations, as well as the score sheets.
From there, once you're able to see which vendor has been,
and once you're able to see the score sheets and summary, you're able to see which vendor has been ranked #1. And from there, you can access their submittal to see what exactly was submitted.
Research Broward County's active and awarded RFPs.
So this is actually very helpful in researching how to properly submit an RFP with Broward County, and also how to research to see what other vendors have submitted, just to give you some assistance in submitting for RFP. You can go to the next slide, please. Now that we've covered how to research solicitations, how to research RFPs and so forth, typically pre-bid conferences are scheduled within solicitations, and the pre-bid conferences are scheduled within a week to 2 weeks after the solicitation has been advertised. The pre-bid conference is by far the most important component of the bidding process, as it is during the pre-bid conference that contractors can decide whether a project is in their company's best interest. We do have somebody that's on the mic, and I'm trying to speak over you. If someone can just mute, if everyone could just mute, please, even if you think it's not you. Thank you very much. All right, so just the same as contractors looking for a project that can be beneficial for their company, the owners, the project managers, Broward County, we're also looking for contractors that will be a best match for the project as well. The pre-bid conferences can be virtual or in person, and are usually conducted by project managers, the procurement professional, engineers, or architects are also included. And so the pre-bid conference provides you with an opportunity to meet the individuals, not only the project manager, but the individuals involved in awarding the contract. The pre-bid conferences are held to clear up any confusion regarding project details, scope of work or services, bidder requirements, and the way to accurately submit solicitation documents. Basically, the primary goal of the pre-bid conference is to provide interested bidders with enough information regarding the bid by clarifying any ambiguities, answer bidder questions, and ensure all bidders have a common basis of understanding. There's also site visits that are included within the pre-bid conferences. And so that provides you with an opportunity to take pictures and to ensure that you have an understanding as far as the scope. Next slide, please. Now, some of the common questions from vendors is how do they know that there's a scheduled pre-bid conference? Well, the solicitation posting includes information on when the scheduled pre-bid is going to be. You also, if you've shown interest within Periscope, maybe you've downloaded some of the documents, you will also receive an email notification letting you know that there is a scheduled pre-bid conference. All our solicitations are posted online, and so our pre-bid information is actually included within the pre-bid conference tab. Next slide, please. Now, within our pre-bids, some of the pre-bids are optional and some are mandatory. Now, this is a big one because you need to know the difference between an optional and a mandatory pre-bid. The optional pre-bid is not a requirement of the solicitation, and you can submit an offer without having to attend a pre-bid. However, with the mandatory pre-bid conferences, it is a requirement of the solicitation, and you'll be deemed non-responsive if you do not attend. So you'll have an inability to submit an offer if you do not attend a mandatory pre-bid. Now, although pre-bid conferences can be virtually, it is recommended that you do attend the pre-bid to reap in the full benefits of the pre-bid conference, especially if the site visit is being offered. And as I said earlier, attending the site visit will allow you an opportunity to review the project site, take pictures, and that's just to assist so you can have a better understanding of the project at hand. So again, you do not want to miss out on an opportunity to submit an offer simply because the pre-bid was mandatory. Next slide, please. Here in Periscope, you have a way of RSVPing to a pre-bid conference. So once you see a solicitation that you are interested in and you see that it's offering a pre-bid, you'll actually select the solicitation. From the bid opportunity details page, you'll select See Original Bid Opportunity. Next slide. From here, you'll select Pre-bid Conference. But before we go to the next slide, I just want to go over the tabs that you're going to see before we get lost into it. The Details tab is actually going to be a very important tool that you'll use. It has your bid comments. It tells you what pertinent information you'll need to know as far as the solicitation. You have your documents, which is going to include your solicitation documents and so forth, standard instruction, standard terms and conditions for the solicitation. You also have your line items tab, which includes the items that you're going to be placing your offers. You also have your Q&A tab, which is for question and answers. If you have any questions relating to the solicitation, you'll select that Q&A tab and you'll input your questions there, and an answer will be provided at a later time. Skip over the pre-bid conference. We have vendor ads. If you have any ads that you want to include within the solicitation, you want to promote yourself, you can do so as well there, as well as the plan holders list. If you are looking for sub-consultants for this project, input your firm's name, indicate that you are a prime and or sub, and that'll let vendors know that you are looking to partner with any particular vendor. Now, before I get carried away, back to RSVPing, you'll select your pre-bid conference tab. Next slide. From here, you're able to see pre-bid information. You're able to see when the pre-bid is, the date, the time. You're able to see whether or not that pre-bid is optional and or mandatory. And as you can see from this slide, this particular pre-bid is mandatory. It's actually a site visit. So you'll want to just pay attention to the language that's included. And as you can see in all caps, attendance to at least one site visit is mandatory. So this is the information that is available to you simply by selecting pre-bid conference tab. It lets you know the date, the time, whether or not it's an optional pre-bid, whether or not it's a site visit or just a pre-bid conference, and whether or not it is optional or mandatory. Now, as far as RSVPing, towards the right where it says not attending, you'll select RSVP. And pay attention to the word not attending in black. Next slide, please. So once you select RSVP, you'll also need to select yes, that you'll be in attendance. Your username will automatically populate, and you'll input your password and select confirm. Once you've selected confirm, within that pre-bid conference tab, you'll see that now the word attending has changed from not attending to now attending in green. And that's just an indicator that you have RSVP'd. Now, another thing to note, although you are RSVPing online, pay close attention to the solicitation details, pay close attention to the pre-bid conference tab details as well, because some bids require you to pre-register for attendance directly with the assigned procurement professional or the agency due to strict security requirements. For instance, the aviation department, it is standard for vendors to submit a completed temporary Customs Border Patrol access and a visitor's badge application for security clearance. These documents must be provided prior to the pre-bid in order to attend. Access will not be granted if you do not pre-register. So please pay close attention to the pre-bid conference tab and the details that are there. And that goes all in all with all the solicitation documents. You want to review the documents in its entirety. Now, before I go to the next slide, if you guys can just type in the chat why you believe it's important to attend a pre-bid conference. Quick responses is a welcome. Networking, great. If it's mandatory, attending is a good idea. Education, perfect, to fully understand the request. Details, great answers, everyone. Thank you. You can go off to the next slide. Now, there are a series of complex construction bids, which include pre-bid conferences and/or meetings. So during the pre-bid conferences, the procurement professional or the project manager will review the details of the scope, the requirements the bidders must meet, provide details regarding technical aspects, and there's also a question and answer period. Note that the question and answers are not binding, so it is recommended for bidders to restate their questions within Periscope S2G. So again, you have a better understanding of the scope, and if the bid is mandatory, your opportunity will be missed. Networking is a big plus as far as attending the pre-bid conference as well. Next slide, please. And this is to go over how to prepare for a pre-bid conference. So you know the solicitation that you're about to bid on, you've reviewed the documents thoroughly, you've verified that you need to register for attendance, you've RSVP'd. So now you just need to prepare your questions that require any clarification, any items within the solicitation documents that were unclear. And also remember to write the questions that you do write down. Just remember to save those questions, repost them in Periscope. And like you guys said earlier, it is a very big networking opportunity. So bring your business cards, brochures about your business, if any. And also with some of the complex pre-bids, you want to bring a camera or bring your phone, take lots of pictures. That way you have an understanding of the project at hand. You also are able to determine how many subs you require, if any, at that. And also you can network to actually see if there are any subs present that you can utilize for the project at hand. Next slide, please. So this slide is to show how to view the pre-bid attendance. So you've attended the pre-bid, let's say you forgot to get someone's information, or someone didn't have their card at hand and they actually needed to reach out to one of the subs. Simply by going to the pre-bid conference tab and selecting transcript, you can view the uploaded pre-bid sign-in sheet, and that'll allow you to view the attendees of the pre-bid. Next slide, please. And now for your further research, if you needed to find a list of the current Broward County open-end contracts, you can actually go to the purchasing website at www.broward.org/purchasing. Towards the bottom, if you select current open-end contracts PDF, it will provide you with a listing of all of our open-end contracts. It will display the awarded vendors. It'll let you know what the contract terms is, such as the start and end date. It'll display the amounts ordered, amounts paid to certain vendors, the agencies utilizing that particular contract, the number of purchase orders that are issued. And this list is actually updated on a daily basis. Next slide. And just to ensure that you all were paying attention, I'm just going to ask a couple questions. You guys go ahead and type in the chat. A solicitation includes a mandatory pre-bid. Are you required to attend? Yes, yes. Great answer, Wendy. Juanita, yes, very good. Now, do you have to subscribe to Periscope S2G Premium to do business with Broward County? I don't know, someone typed in yes. I'm not sure if it's an absolute no. You do not have to subscribe to do business with Broward County within Periscope S2G. You can register yes, subscribe no. Great clarification, Wendy. Now, are past bids available for you to view in Periscope S2G? Perfect, everyone. All right, next slide. And these are just some resources that are available on the purchasing website as well. It goes through some FAQs. So basically be familiar with our Broward.org purchasing website. There's a lot of information on there that can assist you as far as doing business with Broward County. But the FAQs is a big one. Next slide. All right, thank you, everyone.
Wendell, thank you, thank you. And hey, gang, we apologize. We understand that the audio on the video when she was going through was almost impossible to hear. So I do thank her for catching up and giving the play-by-play herself. But trust me, we're going to figure out a way so that we can make sure from those specific examples relevant to the video, we can get you that information. Because hear me, again, as I told you, I had a sneak peek at the slides. I got excited because that's what this is really all about. So we want to make sure you really do have that information. So again, put your info. Oh, I'm sorry. If you have any questions, put it in the Q&A, and we're still going to come back around. But now I'm just going to give you my commentary as we continue to connect the dots. If you've been in workshops with me before, it's always about connecting the dots to make sure you're clear about this partnership between purchasing and OESBD. Make sure you're clear about information that you just heard from her, how even some of that can be used based on post-certification with us, things you should be doing before a bid ever comes out, things you should be doing as an example. Some of you attended the contracting opportunities workshop in October. You heard transportation, aviation, public works, parks and rec, court. You heard multiple agencies talk about projects and service contracts they plan to have come up the last quarter of this calendar year, second and third quarter of next year. You now have access to that PowerPoint from the Contracting Opportunities meeting back in October. If you saw a project or a potential project of interest to you, if you saw a service or a potential bid of interest to you, and you want to know how to go get information on the past bid, if it was a reoccurring contract, or on past likely bidders, if there was previous information with primes. You just got told. She just shared how in Periscope S2G, you can go back, or through the procurement website, you can go back and get that info. That's to connect the dot. I always say, if the first time you hear about a bid is when the bid officially comes out, and that's the official, you still might be late. Because there's times that we tell you, contracting opportunities meeting, they told you what they're looking to do this December, next February, next June, next September. Nope, it hasn't officially come out yet, but you heard agencies tell you what they're looking to do. Some of the things you just heard today, you can start researching what they're saying and begin putting yourself in a better position. So when the bid officially comes out, you have more information and you can still navigate based on what Wendell shared with you today. Next slide. So my whole point on connecting the dots, I want to remind you, our office is about the 3 Ps program. We are married to purchasing. When purchasing puts a solicitation on the street, we've already reviewed the solicitation before it ever went to the street. As a part of the program, we get to review it to determine if it's sheltered market, $250,000 or less. If I can place a CBE goal on those things, $250,000, $250,000 or more, starting at least 25% goal. Or if I can do a CBE reserve, might have a $3 or $4 million project. I got enough CBEs that the work can get done 100% by CBEs. We reserve it so you compete against each other. You need to make sure you understand the program process. A lot of today was another repeat or an additional aspect of process. Wanting to know how to navigate the procurement system, that Periscope S2G. Wanting to know how to identify likely or potential vendors. Needing to know that I'm a janitorial firm. There was a contract 5 years ago. It was a 3-year and 2 option years. And I want to find out, since I'm in the year 4, and it might be only 1 year left, let me go find out what the past bids were. Let me find out who won that contract at that courthouse. Let me go find out what all the services were. Folks, you can go back and find that information out before the new bid ever hits the street, before purchasing ever does a pre-bid meeting, before my office ever do a meet and greet. That's the ideal of connecting the dot. Process is making sure you have access to tools and resources to gather information that can be useful to you before bid. I am going to say something that I know on the record I don't need to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is not designed, as you saw when she went back, showed you past bids, showed you past dollar values based on bid tabs and or based on the person who won it. I hope you realize, though I said I don't need to say this, folks, you don't use this information to go back to grab someone's number, and when the new bid come out, you repeat their number $1 less. See, I know I don't need to say that, so I'm not saying that, but I'm making sure you recognize that hopefully that's not how you use it. You do use it to get a feel and an estimate of the range that was being considered based on bids. You always got to run your own numbers. You always have to account for your operation. Never forget that. This could give you a picture of what others were looking at. Hopefully they were being responsible to their operation, especially the person who won it. But you never want to take somebody's past bid from a contract that was 3 to 5 years ago anyway, and say, I'm going to use that same dollar amount and I'm going to reduce it by 1. I had to say it, though I know I shouldn't have said it, but process. A lot of what she shared today is what we keep speaking about in terms of process, how to gather information that helps you with your best bid, how to identify potential primes, and let's use that prime as a connected dot. So here we go. You heard of projects and opportunities that might be hitting the street. And I'll even use my surtax. the penny for transportation, the map Broward, especially with the cities, since they're having to use small businesses now and they never had to. If cities are touching surtax money, they got to use small businesses with their projects. So you're in asphalt, you're in construction, you're in landscape, you're in curbing, you're in whatever those infrastructure type services are. And a city, or just like my county agencies did during the contracting opportunities meeting, they tell you about something that they plan to do in February of next year. They tell you about a re-asphalting contract that's going to come up in February of next year. So whether it was the county or one of the cities, they've given you the buzzword asphalt. What you want to do when it comes to prime, if a goal is going to be set, you want to know who some of the likely bidders are. So if it's county, as you just heard, you want to go back. And with the specific agency, you do want to take a look at some past bids to see who was bidding on asphalt contracts. You do want to take a look at current bids or opening contracts to see who currently has work right now in asphalt. Because if there's a future bid, at least you begin to identify some of the primes who might bid on this upcoming bid. No automatics, but you're trying to get started so that you can get ahead of your competition, of the other small businesses. So let's really play this one all the way out. If I knew that an agency was looking to procure X and they're going to wait to February, but I know what they're looking to procure, the county agency has already done this 3 times the last 4 years, I want to go back and find out the different firms who participated in the bid. I want to go back and find out the different firms who actually won those bids. And because I also know when the agency in purchasing gets ready to move this forward, they're going to have a pre-bid meeting. Of course, I need to attend the pre-bid meeting. Mandatory or not, I need to be there. But if I'm a small business and I'm connecting my own dots and I'm trying to put my strategy in place, before that pre-bid, I want to try to introduce myself to all these potential primes, especially when it comes to the cities who's been working with businesses, who's never really worked with small businesses, and those primes are now finding out for the first time, oh, I got to use small businesses. You as a CBE want to introduce yourself to primes as early as possible. That's right. There will be a pre-bid meeting where you'll get to meet them. You'll even get the pre-bid meeting list at the end. But that shouldn't be your first engagement if you're being aggressive. If someone just told you in October that they're looking to do something in February of next year, you should be doing your research right now, November and December, trying to identify those primes and finding multiple ways to introduce yourself to those primes, phone calls, meet and greets, emails, whatever. Because when you get to the bid and the pre-bid, you hope to remind them that I'm the person that's been trying to reach you, or I'm the person who contacted you 3 months ago. Whether that's pre-bid or my meet and greet, you want to walk in a room and remind them of something they've already told you, or remind them of something you already sent them. The point I'm trying to make in process, it really is work, but it's the strategy you should be creating that begins to differentiate yourself from your competition, or the process that you're trying to create that allows you to introduce yourself to potential primes multiple times, because for the program, the ordinance is real. When we say the goal is 30%, that prime must pick 30% of my CBEs to meet the goal. No, we can't tell the prime who to pick. We can't tell him who to pick or what percentage to give them, but what they know through the procurement process, this project got a 30% goal. They have to identify CBEs to meet this 30% goal. And that's really the people aspect. Understanding the right people to meet and when you can potentially meet them. And again, pre-bid meetings are some of that. Our meet and greets are some of that. But some of that is based on what you just heard, going backwards, identifying primes and things that they've done, and potentially these might be some of the same primes going after these future contracts. And since you know some will have pre-bid meetings, some will have meet and greets, some will just be information from the portal of the bid, and that's it. you want to do everything you can to introduce yourself to these primes, these potential bidders, as soon as possible and as often as possible. Program process people will continue to speak about when I do my workshop, certified now what, it's really drilling on program process people. Next slide. So the OASBD resources, that's what I was talking about. I got a workshop. Most of this is up on our website. You're certified now what? The webinar on the OASBD YouTube channel. Our next schedule for early 2023 will be other opportunities for meet and greets and workshops that we're going to do to try to drive this information home that you just heard from purchasing. But keep in mind, the majority of what we do, our small businesses are connected to primes. So when I'm talking about process out of that program process people, when I'm talking about process, it's about how can we get you information as soon as possible that you can research that can potentially introduce you to primes who may be in need of your services at a bid point. So we want to make sure we're giving you as much of that as possible, as soon as possible. But yes, folks, you still have to do the homework. You still have to make sure you define a strategy that works for you. And I got to be excited. I'm not saying this to dismiss anyone. I'm not saying this to be braggadocious, but you need to know your small businesses. Some of you on this call and others, they're winning for real. I don't know if everybody really puts strategies together, but what I do know, the things that we're sharing helps small businesses engage a process, understand a process, leverage their certification as a part of the process to win more contracts. I'm trying to show you that we actually, including me, we want to talk less. I just want to show you that your small businesses are winning. I want to just show you what some of the processes and opportunity for you to get information really is. And we want to make sure we can always introduce you to those opportunities so you can be aggressive about your bids. That's real. Next slide. That weekly ball, you see that QRL code, take that snap. You want to get that weekly newsletter. In addition to everything you just heard from purchasing. See, even in that weekly newsletter, yes, I told you about the contracting opportunities workshop. Yes, we had that in October, but every Wednesday night, including tonight, we put a newsletter out with more information. One section of that newsletter always has hot tips. And hot tips is the beginning of what I described earlier. If I tell you about a project that's on the horizon, I'm telling you in advance, no, I don't know the day the bid's coming out. We never say we do. But I'm telling you, I just looked at something. I'm telling you, we just reviewed something. I'm telling you what the scopes are, what we reviewed. I'm telling you what the dollar value is for the scopes that we reviewed. And I'm even telling you what the required recommended goal is. I might tell you that today about a project that won't hit the bid portal to December. But that really meant don't wait on the bid portal. Take that information I'm sharing today and what you just learned from purchasing. Let's go find some back or some previous information similar so you can begin to start identifying potential primes, past projects, dollar values, and get a better understanding of scopes. Yep, this project is really about whatever is officially on the bid. We get it. This is what you really got to respond to. But there's always information similar, if not on the spot, that can help you when that bid actually comes out. That's what purchasing was just explaining. Go back and look at some past bid tabs. Look to see who the other vendors were. See those vendors who may have lost the last time. They still are going to need primes if they win the next time. I'm sorry, they're going to need CVEs if they win the next time. You want to begin to introduce yourself to them. These are other ways and other resources that we try to get you information and share information. And again, there is so much happening in Broward right now, so much coming out that we're doing so many of these. And again, we're supportive and thankful that purchasing is really driving this home for us. We don't want you to miss these opportunities, guys. At the end of the day, the work still got to get done. At the end of the day, the county's going to award it to someone. As long as I got capacity, I'm going to always make sure there's small business goals. When I don't have capacity, the county procurement through the commission will be allowed to award some of these with reduced goals or no goals. That's not our intent. So we're trying to make sure that you understand the process and that you have capacity. And every time I get to review a project from any of our agencies, including the cities with this surtax, I have enough capacity to set the goals as afforded to us by the ordinance. Next slide. So an upcoming event, this is related. Don't know what level of business you're in or where you are in case you need to scale up or more activity, but do understand this, that Arrow is our alliance of entrepreneur resources and organizations. What are they really? Arrow is the group that we belong to that works with small business, startup business, and even entrepreneurs. We're having this workshop because all those partners and others will be in the room. They all will be there like a fair that you get to meet each one of them. All are going to come to a podium, take about 5 to 7 minutes to talk specifically about what they do. If you as a business need access to capital, if you're talking about scaling up, if you're talking about going back to revisit your business plan so that you can do more contracts or decide to pivot, come to this free session, listen to these individuals, meet these individuals and organizations, and decide if you need assistance. If you don't need assistance, don't bother. I know you're busy. You can't come to so many things. If you need assistance in different areas of growing your business, that's what that workshop is all about. Next slide. And here's the other part for you. And I'm going to continue this commercial forever. You see what's on the screen, but I have to read something. So it's going to look like I'm not looking at you. Upskill your employees and get reimbursed 90% of the training costs. If you need workers to complete short-term projects, CareerSource Broward can also provide those individuals and they can pay the wages. If you have a challenge finding talent for your vacancies, if working with CareerSource, they can do that with you and you can receive up to $18,000 per employee. And improve your employee skills and get them certified in different occupations and training. Once again, you may be eligible for your employee up to $12,000. Folks, what I'm trying to say is one of the best supplements, support systems, HR departments, and resource developers for small businesses in my county is CareerSource. They're part of the state program, which is a part of the federal program under the Department of Labor. They have money to help business, especially small business, get talent, train talent, put folks to work. So remember that because I am throwing this on you. As you continue to engage our process, as you begin to win more contracts, as your small company begins to grow larger, even though you're still in my small business capacity, when you need additional assistance or training or your bottom line to help grow your business, I want each one of you to really reach out to CareerSource and check them out. And you're doing this as a challenge for me. I've told CareerSource, I want to tell every single one of my certified small businesses. There's over 900 small businesses who are certified with us. But guys and girls, there's over 77,000 businesses of all sizes in Broward County. That includes my small. I got to find a way that 77,000 businesses, all of them, are aware of CareerSource, and we're saying it on the record, the resources, the money. I want you to contact them. I want you to tell them your story. I want to see if dollars available for you. If it is, I want you to tell me so I can announce it. If it isn't, I want you to tell me so I can go back and check them about where the opportunities are being missed. But I do know that on behalf of the state, they have funds to support business, including small business. So if you've never reached out, I need you to reach out. And actually with the number that's there, I'm gonna give you another number because they sent me a direct email today. Contact Natalie Oscar. That's Natalie Oscar. And one of my people can put this in the chat. Contact Natalie Oscar, 954-202-3830. And that's extension 3025. Natalie Oscar, 954-202-3830, extension 3025. We are serious about trying to help our small businesses not only engage the county's process through procurement and win bids, we're serious about whatever resources you need to be a sustaining, scaling, and growing business. Next slide. So with that, I guess we've come full circle, and we certainly still have time. We want to entertain some questions that may have been put into the Q&A. So here we go. Staff want to help me out? Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Survey. We always need a survey. You know, and even if it's a line to say, oh, I'm disappointed because the volume was low, we always want to hear from you guys. So please take the time to do this survey for us. Push those in, click those in, take the next 30, 45 seconds. Let's do the survey. But we are going to move to Q&A because we certainly want to entertain any questions anyone may have. But please always do the surveys for us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sandy. I'm going to take a quick look at these. We know there was issues with the volume, and we will be giving links for the recording for this, and we will discuss best ways to get a transcript of those areas that were hard to discuss. So,
Pam, let me start. You keep looking for some questions. Let me start with one.
Okay.
Guys, I had a question asked of me because you heard me earlier. We're creating so many opportunities, and it's through the program, Business Opportunity Act, that we're saying that the things the county buys, we're trying to make sure at least 25% goals are set on the things the county are buying. And when it comes to major projects, especially with our major firms, and I saw some of the names, I even got some primes on here, so thanks for joining us. Like I said, our information is available to everyone. Might be targeted to the small, but I need the prime contractors to hear what we're saying, because we want to be consistent. I need you as small businesses also to understand one thing, because a question was posed to me. In 2018, we changed the county's ordinance to at least 25% small business goal, when before we used to be an average of 25. But we also made another change. There's a clause in there about exclusivity. Small businesses, as you heard, if we're establishing goals, primes have to identify which of you they're going to work with to reach that goal. We are aware that sometimes primes say, hey, I would love business X as a CBE to come to me, and you're going to be 10% of my 30% goal, but I need you to sign this exclusivity. Red flag. I'm saying it to you as small business. I'm going to be working with purchasing. We're going to continue to scream it to every prime. I'm going to work with purchasing to see if we can also make sure it's written, since it's already an ordinance, and the part of the solicitation. Primes cannot require my small businesses who are looking to do business to be exclusive. Here's the point. I might be an electrical contractor. It's 9 of us at this workshop, this meet and greet. We all got to pitch to 4 different primes. We have no idea who's going to win. As a small business, I need to speak to all 4 because I know all 4 need electrical, and I'm hoping all 4 will agree with me. They would put me down as an LOI. You have to spread yourself because only one of them go win anyway. So it's unfair for them to ask you, hey, I like what you're saying. So I'm assigned you as my letter of intent, my CBE for 10% electrical, but I don't want you to talk to none of my other competitors. They can't do that, folks. You have a right to speak to all. I got to make sure they're crystal clear. You're only a percentage of this larger apple that they're getting. I cannot minimize your opportunities by allowing them to say, if I sign you with my LOI, it got to be exclusive. So I'm saying it on loud, I'm saying it out loud, saying it on the record. This tape is being recorded, it's going to be posted. So as CBEs, if somebody ever tell you exclusivity, you need to point them to this tape. No, that's not proper. As primes, if you want me to drill down on this more with you, including those things called intellectual properties and all that good stuff, hey, well, let's talk about it. If you need the small business to sign a non-disclosure agreement, that's one thing. Exclusivity cannot be required of my small businesses. Small businesses will never have, unfortunately, unless they're the prime, the lion's share of no project. Therefore, they need to hunt. I'm putting this in hunting terms now. My CBEs need to hunt. for as many opportunities as possible, because in the end, only one of those primes go win anyway. So why would they limit themselves to you and then somebody else win and they never had a conversation? I had to bring that up because that was posed to me as a question, and that was a good question. And it is a part of this because we just got through talking about how you potentially identify past primes. You want that information so you can begin to hunt early. You can begin to get signatures with them early so that when a project does come out, you could be on multiple teams, hoping that one of them win that you're on. So I want to just do that as the first question. Okay, Pam.
All right, we have a few questions. Narissa asks, is there any time it'd be inappropriate to approach a prime during the pre-bid process?
So during the pre-bid process, so think about it. And that's what I said when I meant strategy. Folks, there's no official inappropriate time, but you definitely want to learn about your primes, and you as a strategy want to try to identify when the appropriate time is. I don't believe there's an inappropriate, but I think you really want to try to figure out when there's an appropriate time. Do you really reach out to someone 3 years before something ever hits the street? Probably not. I'll use my example with these cities and with the surtax and the MAP Broward program with the penny for transportation. A lot of those primes have been working with these cities forever. They've never had to use small business. When these projects are now going out from the city, all of my small business language is included. If you was able to watch one of our workshops, and we worked with the cities this past summer, and they talked about projects they plan to do next year, if you were able to research within those cities and find primes who won contracts previously with those cities, it's never too early to introduce yourself. They might not even be aware the city's now getting ready in February to use surtax. You can be of value to them. You get to tell them what you know about them. You get to tell them about the type of work you know they've done with the city. You get to tell them about who you are. You get to tell them about the work you do. And you might be the first person informing them if they plan to work with that city down the road. They're going to be required to use small business, and that's why you're introducing yourself. My whole point is introducing yourself to a prime is about creating a strategy. And to your point, you said pre-bid. Before the bid is the best time to begin to identify primes, identify likely primes. You don't know who's going to bid. So you're trying to put the list together based on the projects you're going off after in the industry and finding multiple ways to try to introduce yourself. See them at a meeting, send an email, do a call, give them your capability statement. You want multiple ways to put yourself in their face. So when the day comes, at a pre-bid meeting or a meet and greet, if you didn't have communication with them during all of this directly, when you do see them, you can remind them of all the outreach that you actually did. That's aggressive, but that's also appreciative, and it's probably something that will differentiate you from the others in line that day. So I don't think there's an inappropriate time. I think as a strategy, you must find the appropriate time that you believe you can offer more value and begin to create that connection.
And I'll add on to Sandy. Good afternoon, everyone. Connie Mangan, Purchasing Manager. He's absolutely right. And I'd say the only inappropriate time would be the day the bid opens. Don't want to be late on it. I did just want to throw in there, we were talking, and the question was specifically to a prime, being the prime contractor who would be bidding with the county. We would want to caution, that excludes if the county has a consultant who we might have hired to help us with the bid, such as in construction contracts, that you are not allowed to reach out to them as part of the cone of silence. So this is speaking specifically to other vendors. Again, as Sandy pointed out, earlier the better, start that communication and feedback between each other. Thank you, Sandy.
No, thank you. Thank you, Connie. Pam?
All right, I was talking way up on mute there. If you a certified DBE in another state, will that automatically certify you as a DBE in Broward County?
It doesn't automatically, but you already ahead of the game. In case you didn't know, congratulations and welcome, and thank you that you are DBE in another state, but the DBE is a federal program, national reciprocity. If you're ready to get your DBE here and you're in the Broward area, if you're in the Miami area, Orlando has a UCP, Unified Certification Program, so does Tampa. If you're in the Broward area, hey, you can reach out to us and say, hey, I'm a DBE in Georgia, trying to become a DBE in Florida. You would send that communication to my office. We're going to communicate with you about your past certification certificate, your past application to become a DBE, or your past site visit. But based on the federal guidelines, we're going to work with you with 1, 2, or all 3 of these documents. And if all of that is in order, we go certify you for the whole state of Florida through Broward. You don't have to do an application over. If you're still in good standings, if what you tell us from another state still matches good standings based on what we read, we certify you. So you don't need to get started all over again. You just simply need to tell us you're now trying to get certified in the state of Florida. You're originally from Georgia, Tennessee, or wherever, and you're set up here in Broward.
Thanks, Sandy. Rachel asked, does Broward County recognize or honor SMWBE certification with Broward County Public Schools?
So we don't, and thank you for that question. Broward County Public Schools, Miami-Dade Public Schools, and if I'm not mistaken, Palm Beach Public Schools, all have their diversity programming by which the MBEs, the MWBEs, and the small business enterprises all align, and it fits because those folks have officially done a diversity study and they got access and they're required to be having commitments to small business. Miami-Dade County government, Broward County government, we don't. So my program, to be clear, is a race and gender neutral program. Broward County is simple. It's not even about veterans. If you're a small business, if you've been in my county at least 1 year, if the personal net worth of the owner is 1.32 million or less, not counting his or her residence, and if for the most part your revenues average 5 million or less over 3 years, if you're in construction, 9 million or less over 3 years, if you can show us those things are true, you can be a certified small business. Ours is not about the small business minority women or the small business minority program. So again, by title, we're race and gender neutral. Most of those are race and gender conscious.
We have a question from Luzmina regarding her certification status. It expired, but she says she hasn't received her renewal letter yet. I'm not understanding whether she has actually applied for renewal or if she's just pending that letter, but she'd like to know, if they haven't received it, will it affect their chances to apply on BidSync on a platform because it says their certification has expired?
Okay, so let's put it this way. Whenever they got originally certified, they received 2 things from me with my signature manufactured. They received an introductory letter letting them know that they've been certified and they received a certificate. In an introductory letter, we reminded you that your anniversary is annual. So for the record, no matter what your timeline is, you have to renew annually. But let me be clear. Let's say your annual was yesterday, November the 1st. We don't drop you out of my directory on November the 2nd. I don't drop you on December the 2nd. I don't drop you on January the 2nd. What I do is I make sure you got a 30-day notice before your anniversary. I make sure I send you a 30-day letter after your anniversary. I send you a 60-day letter after your anniversary. I even send you a 90-day letter after your anniversary. And if I still haven't heard from you, I send you a certified mail letter giving you a specific date that you will then be dropped. So if you got that specific letter from me, certified mail, it's because you didn't respond at least 90 days after your anniversary date. Other than that, you still have time. No, I don't want my small businesses to be waiting 89 days after the anniversary, but I do understand they're busy. That's why I don't drop you day 1. But I have to be consistent within the program. So the best thing I can say for you to do And our email is there. Email me, give me the name of your company. Let me go back and find staff and find out exactly where we are within that 30, 60, 90 post your anniversary. Because if you're within that window, you can still renew. You miss that window, you might have to wait 6 more months. If you're still within that window, if you have not received a certified letter from me decertifying you, you still got a chance. When that letter comes, then you know it's over. But even that letter doesn't happen until after the whole 90 days, after I send the certified mail. It got to be after the certified mail that I then send one telling you you've been decertified. So if that hasn't happened yet, that means you still got time. Hurry up and send us an email. Let us look. But technically, if that hasn't happened yet, renew tomorrow. Get your paperwork done.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, Kim Schmidt has a couple questions, but the first is, I found a contract listed in the master agreement report that was awarded to our firm, but we haven't received any task orders for it. Is there any way to talk to somebody about getting it active? Thanks.
So
that
A, stick with her A. So let's be clear, because you use the term. Is there any way to talk about getting it active? It's not that it's inactive. So I want you to read what the original master agreement was. We set up master agreements because they're going to be needed based on the agencies who need it. So there's a good chance that agencies haven't needed it, which means you haven't been used, but which is why we still set up master agreements, and they're set up for a period of time. So first, we want to be clear. It's not like you're inactive. It is the possibility that the specific service that you're on the library list for the master agreement hasn't been used yet. But other than that, I would like Connie or someone else to come on to see if after you read your agreement, and you're clear about that original solicitation, it didn't promise that because you're on here, you're going to be used within 2 months or 2 weeks. At least purchasing can add to what I'm saying to see if there's anything else you need to do. I just want to caution you, you're not inactive. It really could have been a master agreement. It really could have started in February. And as of right now, November 2nd, they really couldn't have used or needed your services as of yet. It doesn't mean it's inactive. It just means for how they set that up, is going to be used based on when the agencies needed that service and those specific vendors. Connie or anyone, did you want to add to that?
Nope, what you said is correct. And we suggest contacting the using agency, the project manager, which would have been part of this solicitation. We're coming out of fiscal year end, so it might have been just a timing perspective, and or to your point, we order when needed. Open-end contracts, there's not a commitment necessarily to every item we're going to purchase. This is putting on contract and that you are a vendor to order from when that need does specifically arise at that moment.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Moving on, Kim asks, would you consider increasing the small business threshold amount? This can help more small firms that are just above the threshold and struggle to compete with the large firms. Miami-Dade just made an increase, and we're so happy to see the opportunity it can bring. Thanks.
So that has been talked about at our Small Business Advisory Board meeting. It's actually been talked about at the dais with our commissioners. So again, as a small business, we would encourage you to attend the Small Business Advisory Board meeting and continue to put that on the table. It has been considered. It is being considered. There has not been no hard answer on it yet. We did do this consideration when we changed the 5 million on an average over 3 years, and we changed the construction to 9. That was actually done by the Small Business Advisory based on recommendations, and that took place in 2018. But it has come up recently in a Small Business Advisory meeting, a few of them, I'll say, during the end of 2020, which was the COVID era, and last year. But certainly you're welcome to bring that back. But I'm saying it is being considered. But here's the upside. The reason I'm saying Small Business Advisory meeting is going to be driven by small businesses making a determination that that's in the best interest of small business, which is why the county has a Small Business Advisory Board. So then the county can make a decision, is it in the best interest of its total picture? The county has numbers now that understands that what we currently do works for the county. No one's against that number, but they're certainly going to have to verify and validate that, increasing that, because I want to make sure we're real clear. We understand that small businesses will graduate. We understand that there's a delta and sometimes a major delta between a small business graduating and, let's say, a construction firm. You graduate from me averaging 9 million or less, and now you do 11. We're the first one to say there's a major difference between you now doing $11 million a year and one of the other contractors or one of the major firms who does 100 million. See, we get that. But one of the things that we're also honest about is that I have just as many 8, 9, 12, and $15 million projects. That's a sweet spot for my CBEs. I'm just using the construction as an example, where they can now bid, and the $100 million guy doesn't want that one as well. So we recognize that there's a lot of growth. We recognize that CBEs will graduate, and we recognize and hear loud and clear that CBEs say, I appreciate your program, but the day I graduated, you had me fighting the big boys. Well, that's the one I honestly, in most industries, I got to push back on. There will be some time you're fighting with the bigger boy, but the county, because of all the different things we do, there's still a window post our graduation, where at the end of the day, that's where our small businesses who graduate from our program, that's your next step. Your next step is seeking out those opportunities, or as you be prepared to graduate, working with us to identify those opportunities. So just like we did with this exercise today, so that you will see, oh, there are some other areas for me. So again, just using construction industry, I don't need to believe I fell off the cliff, and now that I've graduated, I got to go compete against Styles and Moss and Tudor Perini, all 3, 5, and $700 million companies. No, you don't. The county has just as many 9, 12, 15, and 20 millions that's in that spot for you. So again, it's been talked about. I'll even add this. We've not only talked about it, the county had even started considering another tier. That's how much they've really talked about it. So again, it hasn't come up in the last 4 or 5 months. It was driven by the commission and some other conversations. But if I'm you, I find the next Small Business Advisory Board meeting, and if interested, bring that conversation back.
And with that, Sandy, that is all the questions we have for today.
So folks, I want to thank you. And again, we're going to do everything we can, because what Purchasing gave you today, when I be talking about gold nuggets, that's gold. Forget a nugget. That's gold. That information they shared is spot on. So we want to make sure that you have access to that, that the volume's better, that you got somewhere to come for questions. But when you start talking about researching opportunities, what Purchasing shared with you today is all we've been saying for years, and I'm thankful that they came on to say it from a procurement perspective. There is a way to determine likely primes. You don't know who's bidding to who bids, but you do want to know who's likely to bid, who has bid before in similar situations. When it really is an active bid, who's reviewed the bid. All of these are other steps and tips to help you to meet folks who, at the end of the day, if the project got to go, you need to meet them just as much as they need to meet you. And I say this openly. You don't want the primes to realize, oh, shoot, I'm at the end. I'm ready to submit my bid in 2 days, but I got to meet this goal. You don't want them just to go to my directory and say, I need electrical. So they go to the NAICS code for electrical. They see 13 or 20, and they grab the first alphabet. Oh, shoot, I need painting. You don't want them to go to my directory, go to the NAICS code, go through painting, and then they see the first alphabet. And I'm not saying that this is what my primes do, but my primes also recognize they got to meet the goal, they got to get LOIs, and they got to submit that information as a part of the bid. So if the concentration of the bid was just at the bid, sometimes they do wait to the end to identify my CBEs. And sometimes it does become easier to just go through the directory and start doing cold calls. They're trying to commit themselves to a program that's a requirement. I say that to you as a CBE because you need to know this. So whenever you have a chance in advance to reach out to a prime that might be bidding on a contract that has a goal, you need to reach out. And that's what you were just shown today. Different ways to identify projects, different ways to identify potential and likely bidders, and different ways to communicate with them. So that's what I want to leave you with today. And I want to thank you for attending again. This is the second of 4 workshops we're doing specifically with purchasing, trying to make sure on the process side of my program, process people, you know how to navigate the relationship and the functionality of the procurement process. That's why we're here. This too will eventually be up on the website. So then you would have had workshop 1, workshop 2, and be on the lookout because we're going to try to get 2 more in. Not promising that the next 2 will happen before December, but just keep in mind, it'll be 4 total that we're doing with purchasing. So thank you all. Have a good week. Hopefully I'll see some of you on November the 9th. And definitely, as a business, you need HR support, you need some training support, you need some hiring assistance, you need some supplemental pay for training or hiring. Check CareerSource Broward out. Other than that, have a good day. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.